Hello, and welcome to my presentation. Before I begin, I must firstly apologize for uploading this to YouTube and not Outlook, not OneDrive as specified in the task brief. I'm currently experiencing problems with my EU Outlook account, so I'm actually unable to access OneDrive. I mentioned it briefly in my report, and I'm trying to get it fixed. And again, I apologize, and hopefully this works. This will be hyperlinked into my report. And yeah, so without further ado, I'll begin. So, Hot Noods is the newest digital innovation within the food market industry. So, what is Hot Noods? So, Hot Noods is a digital-only restaurant that is based out of ghost kitchens. What doing this allows for is having very low overhead, especially considering our operational hours from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., which allows us not to pay full rent all day for an actual physical location. And what we do is we leverage third-party delivery options, Uber Eats, Glovo, things like that to spread our product. So our product is 6 to 12 euro ramen bowls, specifically ones made out of cheap noodles that you can buy yourself at any Asian store or supermarket. But the twist that we put onto it is that we turn them into gourmet meals using existing social media trends or new social media trends for ramen hacks. So Ramen Hacks is a interesting social media movement about turning basic ramen into gourmet food that is, first of all, visually a lot more appealing than a basic ramen, and second of all, tastes a lot better. Through this trend, the sales of noodles has actually, well, instant noodles has increased 50% globally over the past year. And yeah, so to narrow down in terms of who our potential clientele is, it's we want to focus on the student niche within Barcelona. Students who are looking for cheap, affordable meals between 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. when late night cravings hit. And from this client base, we have a total of 230,000 potential customers. One of our big tech focuses as well is creating a thermal packaging that is able to keep the noodles warm and at an optimal temperature throughout the delivery process. So by the time they arrive, you don't have wet, gross, soggy noodles with a lukewarm broth, which no one likes, you know. So besides that, we want to have a data-driven menu rotation. And by that, I mean we're going to be posting polls weekly on our various social media platforms, with social media being a key focus for us in terms of our advertising and outreach to our customer base. And through these polls, users will be able to vote on potential new menu items or which ones to keep. And besides that, leveraging information and data from our third-party delivery partners to figure out what works and what doesn't work and have constant change to keep our menu fresh and avoid social media burnout. So yeah, let's continue. So yeah, in terms of our market positioning, our direct competitors in terms of other food options within Barcelona's late night food demographic are kebab, pizza, and McDonald's. And depending on what you order, all fall into a similar price range of the 6 to 12 euro mark. So one advantage that we have in terms of our company is that we have a high gross margin in terms of our food product and food costs, with potentially a 50% gross margin and 30% aggregator fees to the food delivery options, besides the 21% VAT that is included within the food price. So the reason we're able to keep our gross margin high for our products is, first of all, the price of noodles, especially when buying in bulk and when partnered with one of the big instant noodle suppliers, can go down as low as 35 cents a package. So this would include making deals with companies potentially like Shin Ramen, Bulldog, or Yakimoto for supplies. So an interesting fact about ghost kitchens and how they're potentially going to grow in the next while is that global revenue for ghost kitchens is expected to reach 88.4 billion US dollars within 2025. So ghost kitchens as well are a within an interesting position in Barcelona. The city is trying to crack down on them because well, to put it bluntly, they're not happy with them and the potential competition that they put on businesses with actual physical locations. So due to this, they're limited solely to the Zona Franca industrial area in Barcelona for these industrial kitchens. Let's continue. Oh, yeah. In terms of challenges that we face, like I mentioned before, there's the 30% Uber Eats fee, there's the ghost kitchen zoning, and there's the viral trend burnout, all which are very manageable in terms of how we mitigate these problems, which I will get into in a bit. And so our opportunities are an untapped student demand. I think personally there is a gap within late night options within Barcelona, where if you go on Uber Eats after restaurant or Glovo closing hours, you're fairly limited in terms of what you can order once actual physical restaurants close. And like I mentioned before, these vary between kebab, pizza, and some burger options, you know. So in terms of I've actually included here a screenshot from my report of the company's SWOT analysis. So yeah, like mentioned before, one of our big opportunities is to buy in bulk from the food suppliers to reduce the cost of goods and services. And again, most of the threats remain municipal zoning and regulatory shifts in food safety or single package use. All of these are addressable and things that we can work around as long as we keep our viral momentum going, which is one of the heavy demands for this company. So yeah, so our innovation proposal is late night food that is limited and often less than 12 euros. So students are price sensitive. Most of the time, people studying university don't have high paying jobs, and late at night, you don't really have, like I mentioned before, I feel like I'm going over it again and again, lots of options for food. So what we offer is a almost soul food option in terms of what you can eat and just feel better, like a hot meal of noodles, like at least with me, it always, makes me feel good. Yeah. Uh, yeah, and anyways, so yeah, I'll move on. Yeah, so in terms of our stakeholders and our impact on them, so our students need budget comfort food, like I mentioned. Our delivery platform have high volume and peak orders. And in terms of our suppliers and our impact on them, is pallet sales of instant noodles, which would mean that buying in bulk and potentially securing these deals. So industrial kitchens, like I mentioned, are not very popular, so that is a issue of concern, but again, one that can be mitigated. So yeah, so our solution to these problems is working with the idea of potentially calling the innovation in terms of packaging and having our own proprietary packaging hotbox schedule to change, working title. And the goal of that is to keep broth at less than or equal to 60 degrees Celsius for up to 30 minutes. So, in terms of avoiding social media burnout and keeping our menu fresh, we would have an aggregator optimized storefront that essentially uses continuous A/B testing models to figure out what are the best options, as well as a modular menu starting at potentially 650 and upselling items. So, the total costs, the uh, average order value would be around 9 to 10 euros. So again, one of the main things that we'd also have to manage is potentially working in a deal to have a low load tier for commission at 25% with food delivery services after 11 p.m. In order to save on costs and increase our gross margin. So yeah, in terms of the implementation steps that we would have to take for this to be a success and to get it started. So within the first month, it would be finalizing the recipes, testing of the packaging, and leasing out the kitchen within the Zona Franca area. The second month would be to go live on Uber Eats and a TikTok social media focused rollout. Month 4 to 6 would include negotiating the 25% night tier that I mentioned before and adding supplier co-marketing funds. So this could include potentially, if we have success, partnering with the ramen brands which we are ordering from to co-sponsor and co-market our food products, because what we would be doing is offering them a service as well of advertising their product as just more than basic food noodles. So yeah, in terms of the latter months, one of the main focuses would be ha opening a second industrial kitchen bay within Barcelona and not moving too fast to other cities within Catalonia and focusing within the first year of just creating a successful and profitable venture within this city before moving on to the next one. So yeah, so in terms of why I believe this works, so it fills a clear gap of hot, affordable meals after 10 to 11 p.m. that otherwise aren't most of the time available. So in terms of the what's it called, profitability, we would have to sell about 70 bowls a night in order to cover the operating costs of the ghost kitchen, which I mentioned more in the report, as well as having a good gross margin for our product potentially if this works out, as well as having an identifiable and proprietary packaging system, which can then later be licensed. We have multiple potential technological ventures to build off of in regards to our innovation to improve the company. So yeah, in terms of the next steps and the primary focuses, so it would be to finish the hotbox testing and secure the bulk ramen deals. And finally, later on, like mentioned, the third quarter would be to secure the Night Owl Uber Eats lower commission tier based on order volume and potential leverage that we might have with our popularity. So yeah, that about covers it. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you for this past semester. Thank you for this course, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.